thing, and I don't know if you knew this, but you can actually play back the live chat that happened during the live stream if you're watching it after the fact. If you're here now, then you know what's happening already. You're doing it, and we're doing it here. You guys can't hear me? You kidding me right now? Did I just fix it? Can you hear me now? Okay, there we go. I don't know how long I wasn't. Everything I just said wasn't important anyway, so don't even worry about it. Here's something important I'd like to bring up before we get our guest on. Is we got some alerts from USARK. If you guys are not USARK members and you're reptile keeper, you're not doing it right. I don't know how else to say it. You need to be paying attention to USARK because they are the biggest border between us and laws that would keep us from keeping reptiles out there. And you don't even have to be a member. You can sign up to the newsletter. It's free, and you can be there on top of everything that's happening as far as legislation with reptile stuff. I got this stuff just the other day. I wanted to share it. South Carolina, if you have the newsletter, then you already know this stuff. In Oregon, a House bill has been introduced by one of the representatives that would prohibit certain animals. And there's a link if you go to usark.org that'll tell you which animals, but reptiles and some other things like that. Basically, not allowing you to transport them unless you're going to a vet, and that's it. So no educational shows, nothing like that. There's a bill being proposed right now. So if you're not on top of stuff like that, USARK is always following everything that's happening on I think even city level, definitely state level and county level too. Anyway, that's it. Tonight we've got Aurora Exotics on, and we're going to get into that in just a second. Actually, we're going to get into it right now. You're watching Triple B TV. Ladies and gentlemen, Dana Aurora Johnson of Aurora Exotics. What's up, sis? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. You know what I did a really good job of this time that I usually do a horrible job of?
What's that?
Is not talking about too much stuff with my guest in the green room before I bring you on the live show.
Yeah, we were pretty quiet.
I was purposely trying to make sure, because it happens so many times we start talking about, and that's why I've cut down. It used to be 15 minutes we'd be backstage, and then
okay.
And so I cut it down to 10, so to keep me from going into that, because it's happened with almost every single guest, almost, where we're talking about something super cool. It's like, oh yeah, this is great, and I was like, oh, we should be live right now, every time. So I'm gonna call you Aurora because I've been calling you Aurora for a while. And
that's what I go by these days.
Yep. That works.
That's fine.
Dana's a nice name too.
Sure, it's fine. It's good.
It is good.
Yeah.
So
it's my branding.
speaking of your brand, Aurora Exotics. Obviously, I mean, I could tell from the logo there that you're referencing the Aurora Borealis.
Oh, for sure. It's one of my favorite natural phenomenon. I get to see it once in a while up here in Minnesota, and it's if you haven't seen it, or if anybody hasn't seen it, that's you have to do that at least once in your lifetime. Go somewhere where you can see the Northern Lights.
There was one night up in Port Angeles, Washington, like 3 a.m. It had to be some of it shining down because it was just.
Oh, sure.
But it wasn't as crazy, like I've seen the videos and stuff of it, but it wasn't like that. So it was just like a faint, happening. It wasn't like a light show. It was just like something that was clearly, like the sun wasn't coming up or setting, but it must have been something like that. And that's the furthest north I've really been when I saw something like it. But how does that relate? Like, is it just because you like it so much, or how do you equate it with reptiles, or is it really just because you're?
It's just an aesthetics thing. My artistic background and stuff. It's part of the nature, part of the color. It's pretty. It works for me.
And your background too. It goes together.
Yeah.
Like when I see Aurora Exotics and I saw that in the background, I was like, oh yeah, that goes very well.
For sure. I want to incorporate more art into what I do going forward. So it's part of that.
I don't suppose you have that drawing handy there, do you? That's pretty handy. You didn't even have to get up. Thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome. I'll get it out in the mail soon.
I can't believe that you did that one. Can you hold it up that a little longer for people to see, just to show off your artistic abilities there? She did that. And how long did that take you?
5 hours, I suppose.
Oh, you spent 5 hours on that? Thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome. No, scale. That was my first time really doing scales, like really specific scales. So it took a little while.
Well, it came out fantastic. It came out fantastic.
Well, thank you.
So you're doing.
Tough thing.
I know you got your channel. Which there is a link down in the description for anybody that wants to go check out your channel right now.
No, don't go check out my channel. Don't go look. It's cringy. It's terrible.
I'm gonna go ahead and have to disagree. I watched a couple of your videos a while back, and I was like, oh yeah, it's good. You're not. It's like, to me it was the opposite of cringy.
Maybe I'm still learning how to do it. I'm my own worst critic, I suppose. But
you should be. You should be. I mean,
yeah, that's how you grow.
It is.
Keep improving every time. Yeah.
Well, other people will be your critic too. It happens.
Oh, for sure. That's fine. Bring it on. Bring it on. I can take it.
Yeah, go click on the link and go give Aurora some constructive criticism. Be nice about
it. My Instagram is better.
Instagram
is better. Yeah.
And it's at Aurora Exotics, obviously. I just tagged you on Instagram too. So.
Oh, thank you.
You've already. How long have you been keeping reptiles for?
Since 2004.
Okay.
That's when I got my first corn snake. Yep.
Okay. I've got a picture of that corn snake we'll pull up that you sent me. But
sure.
So you're running you've worked in with some of the folks in the community. Like are you not running Clint's Discord?
Oh, I'm one of the admin team there. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm starting to do moderation on the chats the live stream chat this week. Will be my first time doing that.
So how did
great group.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, Clint. I can't imagine Clint having anything other than a great group of people around him. I mean, he's one of my favorite people on the planet at this point.
He's wonderful. Yeah, that positivity just is. Well, that's why I like following your stuff too.
Oh,
we need more of that in the hobby for sure.
Well, how did you? Clint's not the easiest guy to get a hold of. How did you?
Actually, yeah. How I got involved with that?
Yeah.
Me and a group of other people were involved in the creating of a fan Discord. So we were kind of running this fan Discord and got word and talked about tying that into his Patreon and stuff, kind of like how your Discord is run as well. And it just evolved, and I ended up on that admin team for the official one too. So I just kind of worked my way in.
Gotcha. That's.
I mean, yeah, I like to be involved in things that I enjoy. It's what it's all about.
Smart. It's amazing how many people haven't found out how to do that yet. Like,
just the casual observer on the sidelines. Yeah, I mean, I was that for 13 years. So, I mean, it was just this last year that I started getting involved in the community side.
Yeah, well, I guess I was on the sidelines for a lot of things too. I guess it took me a long time to figure it out too, which is amazing. It's once you jump in and you start getting into it, it's amazing how great it can become. Like
it's life changing. Honestly, it feels that way sometimes. So it's been such a powerful force of positivity in my life, especially this last year, which has been horrible and crazy for everybody. So to have this positive place to escape to and just have fun and talk about reptiles, it's been wonderful. So I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, all the different conversations I've had from this, like I meet some people, like the reptiles are like the common thread, and then the great thing about reptiles, and maybe this is true of many other hobbies and things, but like it's like this little microcosm of the entire universe of people. Like we got people from every walk of life in the reptile community, from like I guess maybe even I don't want to say, I was gonna go like all the way down to like homeless living under the bridge, but
I don't know about that. Might be a little disconnected.
Maybe like a little blue belly in the pocket. I don't know.
Sure, little pet lizard. I can see that.
Yeah, it could be a thing. All the way up to the upper echelon of society, like everybody and everybody in between there's people involved in the reptile hobby, and
absolutely.
That's one of the beautiful things I love about it, is that you have that great spectrum, that Aurora Borealis, if you will, of colors of people, the spectrum. It's out there. Like you'll meet somebody.
All walks of life, yeah.
Yeah, and because I'm definitely the type. I like a broad spectrum of people. I don't like to hang out with just one type of group of people. It gets boring for me.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, there's something to learn from everybody, and that's what I take away from all of this too. Everybody's got something to teach you.
All right. I already knew you were smart, but you're just making yourself smarter and smarter. These are intelligent, in my opinion, people that think like that, like you are successful in their own life, finding their happiness, like having a head, like having that kind of mindset, like you're able to.
Absolutely.
That's what I see.
Yeah, find that middle ground.
Yeah. I want to bring you're talking about that corn snake.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to bring that guy up. There he is, right there. Or she.
It's a girl, yeah.
Nathara. I should have said
Nathara.
ending in an A. That should have been what I guessed. So this is your first snake.
Yep, that was my first corn snake. I got her as a tiny little baby. She came from Kathy Love. So when I get involved in something, I research the crap out of it. I look up everything. So I wanted to get a corn snake from the corn snake breeder at the time, and she was very well known. And I got one of her Okati line.
Nice.
That's Nathara. Yeah.
Dude, I had always wanted a corn snake too when I was a kid.
Well, I wanted a boa first. I really did. But, everything I was reading was like, get a corn snake for your first snake. They're great. And I had her at college. I actually got involved in reptiles because a friend of mine at the time had his whole reptile collection in one of the science rooms. Like, he was allowed to have everything there. So I got hands-on with corn snakes, and he had a legless lizard and some basilisks and stuff. And sometimes I would just help him care for his stuff. And that's how I got into it. I had to have a snake of my own.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so you have a story for this corn snake? I mean, other than it's just your first snake.
I do. So I had her in college, like I mentioned, but my first time going home from college, we packed up all of my stuff in the Suburban. My dad drove a Suburban at the time, and it was just packed with all my college stuff, and I was sitting in the back seat, and I had her out, and I had her in the sleeve of my sweatshirt, and she disappeared. I was 19 at the time. She disappeared in the car, full of stuff. So I was just panicked on my way home. It was like 2-hour drive home, and I lost her in like the first half hour or so. So we got home, unloaded, the car, looked through everything. We started taking the car apart, looking for her, and we gave up hope. And it was 3 days later, there was still a couple of things left in the car. And one of them was a rolled up poster tube. And my dad had taken the poster tube out of the car, came inside, and then went back outside and yelled for me. And my dog, we had a dog at the time named Rosie, she was sniffing on the ground at something. And he goes over, and it was Nathara. And she had been in the car for 3 days in like 50-degree weather. We were ecstatic that we found her. And it was just crazy that she was in this rolled up poster tube probably that whole time. And we never checked it. That was like the one thing in the car we didn't look.
Yeah, when you lose a snake, man, it's tough because they can get into the smallest little space, and that's likely where they head to.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. My other lost snake story. I lost a boa that I had out and about for a bit. She disappeared, and she was in a subwoofer, like a little mini subwoofer, for like 2 months. And I found her when I was sitting at my desk, and I saw her head poking out of the subwoofer. And it was like maybe 6 feet away from where she had gone missing. And I tore furniture apart. I had, the tape trap set up everywhere for like 2 weeks or something. And then I gave up too. So, and she's the mother to the litter that I had this last year. So she must have liked my music.
Wait, did you say you had been playing music at some point?
Oh yeah. I was using the subwoofer the whole time. Like, I had no idea she was in there.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if she just was like, I can't stand this, but I need to stay in here because this is where it's probably safest, or what?
Yeah, she's all cozy in there. I have no idea.
I wonder how snakes pick up, because I know obviously they don't have outer ears. Most people know that, but
they do hear.
But they do have the two of the 3 ear bones, right? That are. I
think so. They can hear human voice. I know that's been proven in science. There's some scientific studies.
They have the two. Don't quote me. Somebody might want to look this up, but I'm fairly certain they have the 2 of the 3 ear bone. Like we have the 3, the 3-piece ear bone that lets us hear. I believe they have the 2, just maybe obviously not the drum.
Okay.
But
yeah.
So
it's interesting.
I'd be interested to know what type of frequencies they pick up. I wonder if they've put out any kind of charts as far as like what the frequency level is that, because we know for humans like what the range is that we hear, you know, between like 200 hertz and whatever it is up on this end. I'm not an audio engineer.
Yeah.
Although I'd like to.
Yeah, I don't know if they've checked like the range, like the full range, and I wonder if it varies by species. I imagine it would, you know, depending on how much they need something wherever they live.
Right. Yeah. Like if you're up in the air, need to hear a bird chirping or something. That.
Yeah. The rustle of something. Be able to differentiate that between other things. I don't know. Lots for science to discover.
Lots of stuff out there. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
How much
scratching the surface.
Barely scratching the surface.
Yep.
And yeah, there's for whatever reason there's not a lot of money put into research for reptiles.
It's a shame, and that's something that I think we need to see change in the coming years.
Yeah,
there's a lot we need to know.
I agree. Let me pull up. You had mentioned a boa clutch. I want to pull up another picture here. It is a. Where's that? I swear I put this picture in here.
I gave you a pile of them.
There was a whole pile of pictures. Maybe I've completely spaced on put. It's all right. You know what? I think I'm gonna do this on the fly. Let me try and do this on the fly real quick.
Okay.
Pull it up. I usually have this all worked out beforehand, but maybe, just maybe, I can make this happen real quickly without looking like a complete ass.
I won't judge, I promise.
I appreciate it. 1, 2. Oh, it's taking me longer than I want already. Why did my thing has decided to not act the way it usually does?
Oops.
It's all changed up on
now
me.
I get technical difficulties. Just a moment.
Yeah, it's not that it's technical. It's just difficult.
Sure. Technical being technology. A little way.
Oh, I think I went down to the wrong. I know what I did. It's all right. I'm just gonna go in here. I'm gonna find it, and we're gonna get that picture that I'm talking about. Here it comes. There it is. Ah, made it happen. You got a fistful of baby boas here.
Yeah, that was one of each type that I had in my litter this year, or last year, I suppose. Yeah, they're all leopard, and I got type 2 anery, ghost, and hypos, and 1 normal. 2 normals.
That's a pretty nice variety right there.
Yeah, it was a big surprise because I didn't know that my male was het for type 2 anery. So I was expecting just half normals and half hypos, and I got so much more.
Oh, that's a nice surprise.
Big surprise.
Dude. So which did I call this a clutch?
Yeah, but I mean, you know,
I know it's fair. A litter. I know it's a litter. I've never hatched. I've been hatched, and I said hatched too, didn't I? I've never had a boa lay alive, birth a litter of boas. So I'm just stuck over here on clutches hatching. I'm stuck on it. When snakes are coming out, it's clutches hatching. I know. There's been a couple times that I've misspoke on a couple. Okay, every now and then I say something accurate. Let's go with that.
Sure. Fair.
So, which litter is this for you? How many litters have you produced from boas?
I think this is number 6. So I haven't produced every year, but and I've been very, very selective about what I breed. So this project is 10 years into a 14-year boa project. So 4 years from now, I will see the end of what I've been working toward. Boas are a long-term game when you're working with recessives and double recessives and those kind of projects, because it takes 4 years. You probably shouldn't breed before 4 years for a female. Males can go at 18 months, but females I let go 4 years minimum.
Gotcha. Well, that's boas take longer to come into maturity than there's like, I don't know what's at the bottom of that. Like, I guess there's a lot of colubrids will double clutch.
Sure.
And even start at younger ages, and then you move up into things like boas, or pythons, like ball pythons. You can have a clutch every year, potentially for at least several years. And then you got boas, which and maybe retics too, as far as how long they take, and then
Take to mature.
and the people at the tortoise end are like, you guys think you have patience?
Right.
Let me tell
Yeah.
you
No,
something
that's
about patience.
for sure. And then with boas too, you shouldn't breed a female every year. Like once in a while, you can do 1 year and then another, but for the most part, you want to give them a year break in between.
I imagine, and this is somebody I've been meaning to get on for a while, and we were talked about it at the beginning, and then he was busy, and then I don't know. Eugene Bissett has like so much
Oh,
uh, information stockpiled, so many stats. I'd just be curious to know like how clutches affect lifespan, or how litters, how many times a female produces, or like if she produces every year, or if she produces every other
sure.
year, like how that affects the lifespan. That'd be something.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know. Because I know, was it tricolor hognose? They grow fast and then they breed a whole bunch, like 3 or 4 clutches, I think, or more in a season, and then they die. Like the oldest one in record is 8 years old.
Wow,
So
and this is in
live fast
captivity.
and die young. Yeah, I think it's both.
Hmm.
Don't quote me on that, but yeah, they go fast. It's just the species.
Wow, interesting. It doesn't equate with humans like that. I don't think you could have 2 kids, or you could have 15 kids. Like you're gonna.
Right, yeah. And then you're gone.
Dude, can you imagine being one of those ladies that has freaking 8 kids at once?
Oh, no. Nope.
I've seen.
I don't have any.
I've seen a few times. I've seen 1 kid come into the world at a time. I can't imagine even like 2 at the same time. 8, like what?
That's a lot of diapers.
I'm just thinking about mom. Not even just the diapers. Like dad can at least help change.
It's a lot of
diapers.
food.
Food. Yeah, it's a lot of pushing.
A lot of everything.
A lot of everything from beginning to end. It's just so much. Okay, I have to address the chat a little bit. I was told to turn my mic down, so I turned it down. Then somebody's telling me turn it up. I don't know what to do here, you guys. I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna leave it here. I'm sorry. I got people like, turn your mic down, Brian. So I turned it down. I can't hear you. Okay.
Yeah, please, everyone.
Thank you. Sorry. At least Aurora can hear me. That's all that matters, isn't it? No, it's live, I guess. We're not. As much as I like to pretend. As much as I like to pretend, we are live with an audience.
Don't remind me.
Sorry.
You can edit this, right?
I don't know why I did that. I've never told anybody else that before. You're welcome. Well, let's look at. So, was it Jupiter and Luna that produced that litter right there? It was. Okay.
Yep. My leopard boa, Jupiter, and Luna.
And
yeah,
so
that was awesome surprise.
I'm assuming that the male is the leopard boa in your hand, and then Luna is laying on the is that cypress?
Yeah, I used to use cypress mulch. I've switched to mostly cocoa blocks these days.
Ooh,
Shout out to cocoa blocks.
Cocoa blocks. I know.
Mix it with some sphagnum moss. It's awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I've yet to mix it with I've mixed it with aspen because I'm weird, but I haven't mixed it with anything else besides that though. That cocoa blocks, it's chunky.
It's nice. Yeah, and it breaks down easy.
It does break down easy. It does, We like to. It's funny because I don't like to. Obviously, I work with Freedom Breeder, and they sponsor the channel, and I love cocoa blocks, not just for that reason. It does it breaks down super easy, and sometimes I feel weird like talking up something that I know I have not necessarily obligations, but like I don't know. That's why I make those weird videos of like singing and like how can
the cocoa block snow was amazing. I cracked up. There aren't many videos these days that actually make me physically laugh out loud, and that one did. So hats off to you.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. Anytime I know that I actually made somebody laugh out loud while watching a video, that's just like all it takes. Just if one person, even if one person does it, I'm like, every second I put into that video was 100% worth it. If you laughed out loud at some point, it's like that is the win. All right,
I'm so glad.
I'm done. We're done. Let's go home.
All right.
Which
good stuff.
Onyxia and Orion. Tell me.
Oh, that's a story. That's the big story. So, do you have Onyxia up right now?
I've got both. I've got it like what do they call those things? It's not a slideshow, but we can call it a slideshow even though it's fading.
Cool. Fancy. Okay, so Onyxia, she was an adult. She was 3-year-old type 2 anerythristic boa, and she was my second boa that I bought. And soon after her, well, around the same time as her, I also got a T positive boa. And my idea was to make world firsts. I was going into a project where I wanted to make something that had never been done before because I loved the idea of being the first to see that, and I still chase that dream a little bit. So I bought her online. I thought she was just gorgeous, but and I thought the breeder was, credible. He seemed like a credible guy. And I'm not going to name names because this story gets sad a little bit. Warning. But I got her, and she arrived to me late in the day, like around 6 p.m., and she was just curled up in her box, no bedding material or anything, and she was cold and wet. And she had a respiratory infection, like very soon after that. And I was still pretty green to the hobby. And I brought her to the vet. I got the antibiotic injections, and I got thrown into the whole mess of, that unfortunate side of snake keeping where you have to deal with illnesses. So I got her in March, and she was getting better. She was doing well. And then I was in California visiting a boyfriend at the time. And the morning that I was set to go back home, I got a call from my mom saying that there were a bunch of babies in the cage. She had babies, and we had no idea she was pregnant. And I thought, parthenogenesis? Like that, I had been researching everything online, learning everything I could about boas, and I knew about parthenogenesis. And that's immediately what I thought. But after, getting home and getting the babies, getting the mother out, crazy, they called my friend over who had been helping with the snakes a little bit. So she wrangled her, and, because her name was Onyxia, she said she had many whelps and they handled it. So shout out to my World of Warcraft players who know what I'm talking about. Great meme stuff here. So we got her taken care of and found out that she had been paired before coming to me. And she was only 3 years old, and she was like a 6-foot-long boa. So we found out later she had been power fed, to get to that size and breed early, and they just didn't think that she took. So here I am with this sick boa who I'm still giving antibiotics and stuff to, who just had a litter of babies, and it was chaos. It was crazy. So long story short, she ended up passing away because of the illness and the stress of having the babies and the respiratory infection. And I got a necropsy from the vet and found her lungs were just like way underdeveloped for the size of the snake that she was. And it was a real bummer. And I went to the breeder and I said, can we make this right? And he gave me like $400 credit or something to his company, and nothing ever came of that. But I suppose he felt like, since I got this free litter of baby boas, that just, made it right. And it was a real bummer because I lost that female and I lost my chance at that whole world's first project that I had been planning. And it turned out that the person who actually hit that world's first would have done it the same year I had, if I had, bred her in my plan. So it was an unfortunate situation all around.
Yeah, that's I guess the bright or the bright side is that you have some babies.
I did get that litter, and that was kind of my jump start into the hobby, because that allowed me to do some trading for some of the animals that I still have now. Like I was able to trade with Brandon Nixon, and I got Tiamat, my pure Sonoran, and then I actually traded with Warren Booth. Like that was one of my first trades, was with Warren Booth, and he's amazing. He's been a huge help and inspiration to me in the hobby. So I have some of his animals too. And yeah, I mean, it was a bright spot in the situation, but it was really hard too. I mean, I was green in the hobby. I didn't know exactly everything perfect that I was doing. I was trying to follow, the thoughts at the time, but that was 2010. We don't have as much information now as we did then. But learning experience.
I know,
for sure.
I know you meant to say that the other way around, but I get it.
What did I say?
Oh, we had more information then than we do now. But
Right.
That's
less information.
In some ways, that's true though.
Well, I don't know.
And so we kept more of it up here, and
Sure.
relied less down here. I think.
Sure.
Well, at least I did. But speaking.
Yeah. So I do still have Orion from that first litter, and I don't think I could ever get rid of him.
Yeah. Well, once you name him, I don't think that. I mean, at least that's the way it works for me. If I've named the animal, then the animal's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I have no breeding plans for him. I have other males that have more genes and stuff that I just probably wouldn't ever use him for anything, but he's a pampered pet.
I've got more of those than I would have imagined.
It can add up, yeah.
The plan was definitely to breed, and pet keeping was apparently dies hard.
Well, at least you've got the animal programming that you're doing. So, I mean, some of them are for that. Well, we'll be doing again.
I hope so.
It will happen.
We were supposed to do the first one since COVID this Saturday. It got canceled.
Yeah, that's a tough time.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's okay. I'm thinking it's gonna come around. But you mentioned Tiamat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tia is fine.
Tia, the
mother of dragons.
And this is potentially the largest BS in the world.
BS, yeah. Yeah, that's what she is. Boa Sigma, yeah. The Sonoran boa. Yeah, she's pure Sonoran, and she was never supposed to get above like 6 feet or something. She's over 7 now. Last time I measured her was last year, and she was a little over 7 foot. So she's an outlier. I never overfed her. I fed her very sparingly. I follow Vin Russo's kind of method, seasonal feeding, and so she eats like once a month, and she just keeps growing. I have no idea. I haven't found anybody who has as large or larger of a Sonoran boa.
Well, there's something to be said for minimal food and some decent exercise. Like growth can actually
big time.
Oh my gosh! Make brain cells grow. No, it can stimulate growth. I think if they're full of food all the time, then they're working on breaking down the food and not growing.
And they just poop a lot more.
Yeah.
You're just cleaning poop all the time.
Right.
Let's do that. Yeah. Feed once a month, they poop once a month. It's nice.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in Vin Russo's method when it comes to feeding. I think that he's obviously got the experience. And
there's a lot of overfed boas in the hobby.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
And then
yeah.
And you've got experience with Vin. You helped Vin out at one point. Recently.
Oh, yeah. I guess so, if you can call that helping.
I'd say it was helping. Well, I don't know if they were ever able to ever do anything about.
I don't think they can do anything about the book unless, until the next printing. But he was pissed at his publisher. I know that.
I'm sure he was. It's just, was it like somewhere? So for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, you pointed out that you found that there was a. Was it
it's
missing?
Blank page.
Is it just like in the middle of the book, or?
I have it next to me.
Oh, sweet.
You want me to find it?
Yeah, let's find it. Let's take a look. If anybody doesn't have one of Vin's books and you keep
buy
boas,
this book.
It's just like being a reptile keeper, not being a member of USARK. It's like, what are you doing?
It's awesome. So yeah, what I think he should do is put his signature on this page. He's probably going to be mad at me for showing this on camera. But
no. This is a great thing. You go and find is it missing on every book? I don't know. Go buy one. Find out.
Sure. There we go.
Yeah. See if it's missing that page. Even if you just go into the store to are there bookstores still? I hope so.
Me too.
I mean, I know there's some small ones. I don't know if all the Barnes and Nobles are shutting down, or I know mom and pop. Man, we could go on a whole tangent on bookstores.
Oh yeah, used bookstores are amazing. Like the smell of old books, so good.
We had this place called Bassett Books in my hometown, right downtown, and it
yeah.
It was also kind of like the hippie hangout when we still had hippies in that town, which I don't think they exist anymore.
Uh,
But it was like there was a lot of things that like happened at that bookstore. I just caught the tail end of it. I think. I feel like
oh,
I feel like it was maybe like one of the hubs for the Grateful Dead or something somehow.
interesting. Okay. Did they have a cat?
I imagine there was a cat. There had to have been a cat.
Old bookstores have to have a cat.
Yeah, there was. Even if it was the guy that owned it, he was a cat for sure. Bookstores and hippies. How did we get here?
Books, yay, books.
Books.
So I'm hoping that Vin's book is going to be like a collector's item now. Because it's, those flawed books, they tend to appreciate in value.
Right.
It's rare.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. The things that are like when you get the Sprite can that was printed upside down, you got a bunch of DNA.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that was 7-Up. Sorry, Sprite.
Seven upside down.
7 upside down.
That was good pop. I like that pop.
You know what? I think I should just stop. I should start embracing the fact that my brain is going into decline and not worry about it. Just enjoy the ride. That's what I need to do. I'm gonna start.
Just be happy.
I'm gonna start.
Just smile and drool. Smile and drool. It's fine.
See, it's I this positive reinforcement. This is why I had you on. I had a feeling that it was gonna be like this. Like you were just gonna be somebody that supported me in everything I do, no matter how stupid it sounds. Maybe not. I haven't. Hold on. There's a lot of places I can go that I haven't yet. That he'd probably be like, time to shut this thing down, Brian.
Bye.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Let me pull up another. You sent some great photos, and
Thank
so
you.
I want to make sure I share at least all of them. And this is possibly your biggest regret, but first, before we get too far off, let's jump into that second. Got the first super chat with a question from Anna Kevlin that was wondering what the page number was next to the blank one.
Oh, I have to check again to see. I'm assuming that she has the same book and wants to check.
Could be. Or maybe she's going to go to the store and...
The blank pages are 380 and 381. One of them is half blank.
Damn, is there 400 pages in that book?
Oh, yeah. How many are there? Yeah, 420 something. Thick.
Wow.
And I read it mostly, I skimmed it all in about one day. Like
Reader,
I said, I obsess on things that I enjoy. So.
Yeah, reader, artist, breeder.
I'm a dabbler.
Me too. I dabble hard.
Yeah. I mean, you got to get a little taste of all these creative projects. That's my whole theme in life. Is try this, try that. Somebody else is doing something really cool. Okay, I want to be involved in that too. Follow it where it leads you.
It's good. Okay, sorry, I was introducing a story for you, and then I cut you off for the book.
That's okay.
Kitty and Kira.
Kitty and Kira. That's the hypo line of Central American dwarf boas that I work with. It's a really unique line of hypo. And I know that it's kind of a niche thing because not a lot of people like kind of the darkening that happens with the northern boas. And I like that. And I think that works really well with the leopard gene because you want kind of that higher contrast. So you see the Colombian hypos and they're much cleaner pattern, very clean, very nice, not a lot of black. And this northern hypo line from Nicaragua, it has like an IMG component, the increasing melanin. So the darks just get darker and darker and darker, but also the baby grays that the snake has that all turns orange as the pattern gets darker. And I really like that. There's a lot of pink too, lots of pink in this line. And if I can make like a nice bright pink and contrasted leopard boa in 4 years, like it's gonna be nice. That's when I'll be flexing.
Yeah, as you should. Look at that. That's a beautiful snake right there.
Yeah. Oh, they look purple. They look purple in some light. It's incredible. Like twilight, you have them out in the grass, they just shine purple. Yeah,
even the
I
baby here,
regret
like
selling her.
the black on the. Okay, so you sold the mom, but you still have the baby Kira.
Yeah, the baby's actually from Luna, which would be Kitty's daughter. So it's a whole family line here. Kitty
Gotcha.
was type 2 Anery. Yeah, they're neat boas. Not a lot of people working with them.
Oh, I'm just sorry. I'm just dumbfounded, just staring at them.
They're pretty, yeah.
Yeah,
They're better in person.
I bet.
Everything is, yeah.
The tail, like that, even the tail on the baby has those thick black lines around the saddles at the tail, like you were saying.
Yep. And yeah, that black will just kind of expand a little bit as it grows.
Which is crazy for hypo, right? Because like the idea is there's no metal in it, but that's really dark.
Well, hypo is just reduced black.
Sure.
You know, it doesn't get rid of it completely. And then you double dose that, so you get the super hypo, and then that's got even more reduced black. So hopefully that will, hypo in boas, it's both, like it reduces the melanin but increases the red pigment. I don't know what the technical term for the red pigment is, but like erythrism. I'm butchering that. But yeah, so it increases the red as well as decreases the black. So if you look at like just a regular normal boa, it doesn't have as intense red-orange pigment as the hypo does.
Erythrism would make sense because it's like, it's with it instead of the
That's
like
what I figured. I'm making shit up. It's fine.
It's great. I should have my dad on here more. My dad is a wizard with words and their meanings and their origin. I had him on one time and he sat there, didn't say a goddamn thing the entire live stream.
It was still cool to see him on.
Yeah, no, I'd have him on again, but I was like, expecting a word. He like only spoke at the moment that maybe he shouldn't have. I was like,
hey, unpredictable. That's what these live streams are all about, right?
Yes, that's exactly what they're all about. Speaking of unpredictable, no, I'm not going to do that to you. There's some. You don't have the chat pulled up, but we've got here. I'm just going to ask the questions I know. I've got family members in here throwing super chats, asking inappropriate questions.
Wait, your family members?
Yeah, my family members.
Okay. I was like, I didn't share this to my family, I don't think. later after it's over.
What I did was I asked myself, when we were doing the test live stream, like I was telling you about in the green room, I had myself where you are and where I am at. So I was like kind of interviewing myself, I realized, because I didn't have anybody else on while I was doing the test. And so I asked myself the first question that came to mind, and I don't know why that came to mind, but it did. And apparently it was funny, and now he wants to hear it again, but I'm not going to. But
gotcha.
But so Anna Kevlin again said that it was in her copy as well. That she got it last week. So the page exists. It's not just a spoof on your book. It exists across copies.
Yeah. So everybody, if you have this book and you meet Vin, have him like sign that page.
Yeah, that would be the big, and it's like big, huge, just like get all flamboyant.
Just take up the whole thing. That's what I would do.
Scottish Rob is on a hypo leopard like Tom Burke's line in your future ?
I'm not familiar with Tom Burke's line of hypo leopard. I know his T positive. I would definitely like to get some of his line of T positive. And that's what I had back in the day. I actually sold that male that I had that I was going to breed with Onyxia. But I would like to get into the T positive and blood project. Because those, I mean, if you want red boas, they're on fire. So that's intense. So I would love to put actually my hypo line into the T positive and like my hypo line, like it's mine, the one that I work with, into the T positive and the blood project. I think that would make some really pink orange boas.
What is that, or whose line is it that you work with of the hypo, if you can?
I got it from Robert McPhee. Robert McPhee works with a lot of Central American boas, and I've gotten my Type 2 stuff from him, and from Jeremy Stone is where my Type 2 Anery came from. So dabble around. I kind of mixed lines into my own projects.
All right, mixing lines. Where are you at on mixing localities?
So I have some, every leopard boa that you see has origins in the Sonoran boa, so boa sigma. So every leopard boa, it has some sigma in it. So it may be an intergrade. There are pure sigma leopard boas out there, but most of them that you see mixed into morphs and things, like there's the thing that drives me crazy is you see on a forum Sonoran albino. Well, there's no albino Sonorans, so that's just out the window. It drives me nuts. So sorry, what was the question?
About the hypo leopard, or for me? Oh, where you stand on like hybridizing across?
Well, obviously, Boa Sigma, we didn't know that it was a separate species before. Like, that's relatively new information. So people were combining them because they thought that they were all imperator. So, like, they're so similar. I don't like that they're not called boa constrictors anymore, because if they're not boa constrictors, we don't have a name for all of the large boas. Like, we call all of the large boas boa constrictors, even though Boa Sigma is technically not a boa constrictor. So I think it's okay to mix the large boas if the locality isn't like threatened or there's not a large population of that locality in the hobby. Like, if you want to mix a Suriname boa with an albino and get some like really high red albinos, I think that's okay to do, as long as you're transparent about the lineage. You know, that's everything, is just, you know, making sure you have like I'm writing pedigrees now. Like, I'm giving out like a pedigree sheet with my boas when I sell them, that just has the whole lineage and tells you exactly what went into creating that snake. And I think that's important, especially with boas, because there are so many different localities out there that could be potentially mixed.
I was thinking about, well, not just thinking about, I was doing that with ball pythons, and I got so much feedback that was just saying, I'm just gonna throw this stuff away. I was like,
No.
It's like, fine, I'm not gonna do it then. But with boas, I think it makes more. I mean, there's not a bunch of different localities of ball python necessarily, except for just like, I guess the
right.
God, love it. Whatever. There's one locality of the Volta region ball python.
Yeah. But that's debatable still too.
Yeah, exactly. That's debatable. So it's nothing like boas.
Yeah, there's so many.
Or carpet
so
pythons. Yeah. Absolutely. So why? Let me get this question. I've got another question for you, but
Sure.
I don't want to ignore the chat completely. OG
Love the chat. I love you, chat.
Can you elaborate on your seasonal feeding? Like, are you cutting back on certain times of year and going heavy on others? Mm-hmm. Also, what size rats do you feed your 6 foot and up boas?
Oh, sure. In the wintertime, sometimes I'll just skip a whole month. I won't feed any of the boas that are like subadult and older, just to give them a month off. And I might do that 2 months out of the year. But I really pay attention to body condition too. So like, if a boa is looking a little bit thinner, they're going to get more meals. If the boa is looking thicker, it's going to get fewer meals, you know, and I really pay attention to the individual snake. But overall, I do feed heavier like August, September, you know, before going into breeding season. And actually, I didn't breed boas this year. I decided to hold off on that.
Why? Why is that?
Well, mostly because I'm working on my new business that's coming out. But
which is what?
It's called Snake Crate. I'm starting a subscription box for snake keepers and enthusiasts. It's going to be mostly like art and merchandise based, but there may be like little husbandry items and stuff in there as well. And that's going to be probably a seasonal box at first. I don't think I'm going to do like a monthly subscription box, but it's a project that I've been working on, and I think it's going to be really fun. I'm excited to.
Can you tell me a little bit more for somebody like myself that is not familiar with what a subscription box is? Is like you.
Sure. Most people have heard of like, what's a really popular one? Dollar Shave Club. You know, you like.
I've heard of it. I've never.
Sure.
Ordered. I have. Oh, you know what? I get these meals once a week, and I get paper towels from Amazon every couple months on set. Is it like that? but
It's
cooler?
similar idea. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. It's a subscription for some stuff like a box.
It's a box that I would curate, so I get to choose fun items, and I'm going to work with other artists. I have a lot of artist friends who I'm sure would be way down to do this. There would be like an exclusive art print in each box, and maybe a t-shirt or some other high dollar merchandise item, and then a bunch of stickers and other fun things. And you would sign up and you would pay for a box that you want, and there might be themes. I have all kinds of ideas that I could take this down, but just getting started, I'm not expecting the first box to, get a whole bunch of, interest, but I'm excited to where it could potentially go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I like the creative idea. You got a creative mind over there. It seems like you always got something going, right? In your head.
I have to have projects. Yeah. I've always got a creative project going.
That's good. I like it.
Thanks. Yeah. And people love getting stuff in the mail. Like, who doesn't love getting a package and like not knowing what's in it, and then get, surprise snake stuff?
You just sold me on it. I love getting stuff, and I was supposed to get something in the mail today, and it was supposed to be actually technically it still has 2 hours to arrive according to tracking, and man, I was like, I didn't even check to see if it, because you can check on your phone obviously to see if it arrived or not. Mm-hmm. But we came back home from the beach, and I was like, we stopped by the mailbox, and I was up and it wasn't there, and I was like,
bummer.
Where's my box? Yeah, I love getting stuff in the mail, man.
For sure.
I think I might be just as excited about getting stuff in the mail as I am like to find a clutch of snake eggs under a snake. Like it.
That's impressive.
When are you launching this? The Snake Crate, it's called.
Yeah, and the website will be snake-crate.com. I couldn't get Snake Crate; it wasn't available. But snake-crate.
Most of the .coms have probably been bought up at this point.
Yeah.
What's like the price range of a box?
It's probably going to be about $50, which is, I know, a little high, but I want to pack it with value. So, and that's going to have like, that high dollar t-shirt item and the exclusive print, and then, a pile of other fun things, potentially coupons if I get some relationships going with some interesting companies, and there's a lot it could do.
When did you say potentially the first? Because I'm
probably spring.
Okay, spring.
Probably
okay.
spring. Probably this spring. Yeah, that should give me enough time to get everything organized for the first one.
Well, you can count me in for a box. I can tell you that right now.
Thank you.
I promise that you can count me in for a box. I do not make a promise unless I'm going to keep it. I
appreciate that.
I want one of the first boxes. I'll open up here
Sweet.
and do a little live unboxing, or on video at least.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Don't give me preferential treatment though. Just put in the box whatever you would have given anybody.
Okay. All right. There's going to be like a random special prize in some boxes. Like a handful of them are going to get like a special treat. You never know who's going to get that. So we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
International shipping?
No, not at first. Not at first. It'll be just US. Maybe Canada. It depends on if I go through an actual like subscription boxes are kind of a thing now. Like it's a new business thing that's really getting a lot of attention. So there are websites like Cratejoy and stuff that will handle all the shipping and all that for you. So I'm considering whether or not I want to go with that to start, or if I want to go into that later and do it all myself the first time around. Just to get a feel for how it works. I would be hands-on.
Yeah, I would say definitely try both, because so you know what it's like to do it yourself. And then that's what I did, at least for things like t-shirts and merch. At first I was, and when somebody ordered something, I had it printed beforehand. It was a conglomerate of things that worked against it. My printer kind of screwed me. I wanted to use local printers and do that stuff, and then they just did me wrong, dude. So I was like, well, I'm not doing that. And then it also, the amount of time it took to write everything out and like make sure everything was packed, like it just made more sense to do it the other way. But yeah, I would highly recommend doing the first one. I personally would love if the first box that I ordered, I knew that you put the stuff in the box. That would make it special for me.
Yeah, and that's what I want to do too. I can really make each package.
And then if it takes off,
personalized.
And if it takes off, and you don't have, it's like you don't have the. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, if I'm gonna fill up like my whole garage with boxes, like that's not gonna work.
Right.
Or if I have to haul everything, like my little I live in a small town of like 150 people, if that. So our tiny little post office probably wouldn't be able to handle it. But I don't know if it's going to take off like anything major, but it's a fun little side thing anyway that I can work toward.
Right. Well, Aurora, I think that you've done fantastic today on this.
Thank you.
Stream. I know you were a little bit nervous. I've been
put it off for months.
I may have tried harder to get you on than I've tried to get any other guest on.
Really?
I think so. I'm just saying that. I don't think I'm
shy.
Yeah, well, you've done fantastic on here. It's not you.
Thank you.
You did, and you made me comfortable too, which is huge.
Awesome.
And
I felt comfortable once we started.
Good.
Okay. Yeah.
It's so much easier. I'm not as good across the computer. Like, I'm so much better in person when I can just like look at you.
You know, exactly. And I was thinking, if we were doing this your old way, like if we met at a show and we just sat down and did this, I would not have been anxious about it at all. For some reason, like the technology in the middle, just maybe I've got a technology phobia or something.
I think we got a lot of things in common. After talking with you tonight, I feel like we've got more in common than I realized, and that's another one.
Yeah, it's way better.
Yeah, it is. But we'll get back to it. I mean, it's gonna come back. I'm definitely only doing this way because of there not being any big shows happening, and otherwise I'd just be setting up the shows like I always have, and getting 12 or 15 people on the weekend and putting those out until the next show. And that's what I'll do again once the big shows start picking up again. So
cool.
I've had people on here, as you know, I've had plenty of people on that I had in person too. All my first guests that I had on live stream are people I had in person and met in person first. And so we'll do that the other way around too. Now that when we go back to shows, I'll start having people on that I had, like, because we've not met in person, and this is true of more and more of my guests now. I'll start having people on that I had on the live stream when we get to meet up at a show in person. We'd sit down and do this again in person. And that would be fun for me.
Awesome.
Is there anything before, I know we're going to go into the Patreon Zoom meeting after this, but is there anything you'd like to say to the public before we sign off?
Just that I'm happy to be part of this hobby, and I'm here to have fun and learn and teach what I know and be part of this great collaborative effort that we're all building together.
Fantastic. Well, I think you're off to I think you're doing wonderful. So
thank you.
We'll see you in just a moment, and thank you again for your time and coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice. Oh, man. Did I really forget to turn that thing off again? I've done that so many times now. Vincent Cusco out there trying to ask your inappropriate questions for the ladies. I know you're only 14, my friend, but one of these days you'll be older. You'll understand why I didn't ask that question from your super chat. If you were here pressing the buttons for me and not making my little intro graphic pop up at the outro like I've been doing so many times in a row. There's a link down in the description for Aurora's thing, and also don't forget snake-crate.com coming out soon. I'll be ordering my first box there. I think that you could agree with me in saying that Aurora is a fantastic person to have in this hobby, and somebody's going to make it better for all of us. And again, on Instagram as well, Aurora Exotics. You want to go check her out and see more of what she's doing, go do that there. Next week, we're having Mr. Shane Kelly on from Small Town Exotics, and it's going to be fun, just like tonight was. Have a good night.